Çok zor.
Türkiye'de gay olmak oldukça zor. İnsanların bakışları çok farklı. Ama onların alışacağını düşünüyorum.
Bir hapishanedesiniz. Müebbet hapis cezasına çarptırılmışsınız o hapishane içinde. Ruhunuz da orada. Ve siz o kalın resmen panoptikon andıran o hapishaneyi çukur kazıp firar ediyorsunuz. Aslında ruhunuz firar ediyor.
Within the LGBT community over the years, obviously there's a significant issue of safety and human rights violations against LGBT individuals in Turkey. It changes according to who you are within that community as well. For example, trans individuals experience more severe violations of human rights in everyday experiences due to their visibility in public space. And when we talk about human rights violations, we talk about a huge spectrum, from psychological violence to physical violence that end up in killing. So in that sense, you know, there are a lot of violations that are probably existing, but we're not aware of them because they remain invisible within the other end of the spectrum, I guess.
Çoğu zaman hani artık bu dünyadan gitmek istiyorsunuz. Çünkü hani kanatlarınız uçamıyor. O çabayı gösteremeyecek bir hale geliyorsunuz ama yine de yarın düşüncesi sizi etkiliyor. Bir umutla yarını sürdürmeye devam ediyorsunuz. Aile maalesef ailem olumsuz yaklaşmakta. Bu geleneksel algıdaki dönme lafından öteye gidememekte. Tabii bu şekilde yaklaştıkları için herhangi bir diyalog şansım olmuyor ama ben olumsuz yaklaşmıyorum. Hani yapıcı bir şekilde bunları anlamaya ve pozitif konuşmalar yapmaya çalışıyorum. Çünkü maddi olarak şu an yine tek dayanağım o. Bir gün farklı bir şey yapmak istemiyorum. Yani açıkçası gelecekten korkuyorum. Herkesin sanki sonuymuş gibi görünen seks işçiliğini asla yapmak istemiyorum. Çünkü bu bana tecavüzün paralı hale gelmiş hali gibi geliyor. Zaten bana dayatılan, itaat ettirilmek istenen şeyi reddettiğim için kadın olmak, bunu hissiyatımda barındırmak, içimden gelen bir hisle bunu ortaya çıkarmak istediğim için ve bu geçişi başlattığım için artı bambaşka yine bir senin vücuduna senin isteğin dışında girilecek müdahalede bulunabilecek bir erkek egemenliğini asla tahammül edemem. Zaten bu çok sömürgeleştirici bir performans diye düşünüyorum. Yani en son o noktaya gelirse bilmiyorum, bir yağlı organ ipi alırım ve hallederim işimi, asarım kendimi, öyle diye düşünüyorum. Çünkü bunu asla yapmam.
Yani dışarıda gezmek bile tehlikeli. Hani nasıl diyeyim, el ele tutuşmak olsun. Bir sürü erkeğin tehdidi altında gezmek zorundayız. Aile zaten çok büyük bir faktör. Aile zaten bilmiyorsa bile dışarıdaki insanlar, arkadaşlar, bir sürü arkadaşını değiştirmek zorunda kalıyorsun.
Arkadaşlarım bu durumu fark ettiğinde beni çok yargılamadılar. Çünkü ben onlara eşcinsel olarak değil de normal onlar gibi ya da cinsiyetsiz bir insan olarak yaklaştığım için beni pek yargılamadılar. Ama ailem bu durumu henüz fark etmedi çünkü onların yanında oldukça rol yapıyorum ya da rol yaptığımı düşünüyorum. Onlar bu durumu öğrenirlerse gerçekten çok kötü olur.
Gizem Soylular, beslenme uzmanı olarak çalışıyorum. Ne yazık ki bu şekilde davranamıyorum iş yerinde, bu şekilde de çalışamıyorum haliyle. Gizli olmak zorundayım. İstediğim bara, istediğim yere gidemiyorum ne yazık ki. Tek bir bar var bizim için. Oraya gitmek zorundayız sadece. Bu da benim için hala canım sıkıyor. Artık özgür olmak, hayatımızı kurmak ve bir şekilde hayatımızı kurduktan sonra iyi bir şekilde fuhuş yapmadan fuhuş yapmadan bu şekilde çalışmak istiyorum açıkçası. Ailem de bilmiyor ne yazık ki bu durumu. Haliyle onlara da karşı gizli olmak zorundayım. Ailemin yanında da yaşadığıyla bu şekilde olduktan sonra hayatımı sürdürüyorum. Çünkü bu şekilde olmaktan çok mutluyum. Makyaj yapmaktan. Benim bile bu şekilde olduğumu düşündüğümden dolayı da hayatımı bu şekilde devam etmek istiyorum. Ama ne yazık ki Türkiye olanakları da bu zor.
Bizler çocukları gay, lezbiyen, transseksüel olan aileler çocuklarımızı fark ettiğimizde önce bir şok yaşıyoruz. Ondan sonra bir yok sayma, kayıp duygusu yaşıyoruz. Arkasından da neden benim çocuğum, biz nerede hata yaptık diye düşünüyoruz genellikle. Sonra da bilgilenip öğrenince de bu sefer onu yine saklamaya, korumaya çalışıyoruz. Çünkü bu sefer de el alem ne der diye düşünüyoruz.
There is a double discriminatory process against lesbian and bisexual women because within the society in Turkey they remain much more invisible for various reasons. One is because of gender bias discrimination against women, that they are less free to circulate in the city than men. Men can somehow, there is a whole sorts of variations in the experiences of men as well, so we couldn't speak of a monolithic men and masculinity within Turkey as well. But if you want to kind of simplify, obviously women have less ease to travel through the city. They have much more curfew hours to get out and to go out at nights, etc. So in that sense, they have less opportunities to find other lesbian and bisexual women, to reach out to other bisexual women and lesbian women. So in that sense, there is that discrimination based on being women. But also economically, women are much less privileged in society in Turkey as well. So in terms of finding job opportunities, women are already less advantaged. Lesbian and bisexual women, if they are, especially if they're out or if their appearance doesn't fit the standards, because a lot of women may not look like what a woman should like, long hair, skirts, femme looks. A lot of women prefer to wear unisex clothes or are much more androgenic, and so any job they seek, if they don't fit those norms, not necessarily to say this is only about lesbian and bisexual women, it is all about women in general, but all these prejudices or biases about gender already creates this grounds for discrimination. And if you're out lesbian, then it creates further problems. Also, a lot of families that we've known from the LGBT organizations, that they are forced to marriage. They are forced into bearing children. that if you get married, if you have a children, all will change. And so a lot of the times women are much more dependent on the social networks. But another form of invisibility is that the homosociality. Physical intimacy among women in society here is much more common, that women holding hands, hugging, being close to one another is not necessarily read as a lesbian act. It's not read as a lesbian sexual act. It's changing more in contexts like Istanbul because of the LGBT movement's increased visibility. But that creates further invisibility because these acts are not readily read as sexual acts.
Ayrımcılık değil bu. Yani bu kadına yapılan zaten büyük bir ayrımcılık. Hani bu lezbiyen ayrımcılığından ben çok ayrı tutuyorum. Ama benim daha fazla yaşadığım ayrımcılıktan ziyade kabullenilememek. Yani senin birisini gerçekten yani insanlar cinselliğe ya da aşka sadece penis üzerinden bakıyorlar. Çünkü heteroseksüel bir dünyada yaşıyoruz, hatta ülkede de değil. Ve senin ilişkini beni en çok rahatsız eden bu. Yani onun dışında başka bir tehdit almadım dışarıdan. İlişkini cinsel ya da romantik ilişkini ciddiye almıyorlar çünkü penisin yok.
Over the last 10 years, the LGBT movement have received a huge momentum. So we have much more visibility now, and there is we've created more visibility working with LGBT organizations, and LGBT organizations have spread. As you know, there is one in Eskişehir, there are several in Istanbul, in Ankara, in Diyarbakir. So there are a lot of LGBT organizations now working very hard to create visibility on issues that discriminate against LGBT.
Well, Kaos GL has been established as a magazine in 1994, and during that time, it has always published its magazine for the last, say, 19 years. But from the 2005, we have acquired our association status. At that time, we had problems with the government because some courts have sued Kaos to be against morality and against the family values, but it wasn't closed by the court in the end, actually. And, we have a daily updated portal, a news portal, and we have more than 100 correspondents all around Turkey. They are voluntary correspondents, and our Kaos GL portal, which is online, is updated more than a few times each day, actually. And besides, we have a human rights and democratization program, which I work in. And in the human rights and democratization program, we give legal and political assistance to the LGBT. And we give assistance to the LGBT refugees in Turkey, who are mainly coming from Afghanistan, Iran, and Syria. And we are working with the parliamentary political parties in the parliament. We are working with the ministries, we are working with the international governmental organizations. And besides that, we have a cultural program. We organize symposiums, we organize forums, we organize parties. We go to the 1st of May celebrations, for example. And another thing, the fourth program is the academic program. We go to the universities in Turkey, like in 25 cities in Turkey. We make annual forums or workshops with the university students and the lecturers and the other academicians. And besides, we are giving lectures as Kaos GL. We are running a master degree course in Ankara University, is queer studies. In the political field, we are following up the agenda, not only the Turkish agenda, but the local administrations, the regional status like the Balkans, Caucasus, and Middle East, for example, and the international agenda. And we are trying to establish as more relations we can with all of the stakeholders. Now we have very institutionally built up relations with CHP and BDP, which are two of the four political parties within the Turkish parliament, and we are trying to. We have relations with AK Party and MHP, but not that level, and they have some kind of very strong reservations against LGBT rights actually.
Listak 2008 yılında iki annenin bir araya gelmesiyle, çocukları gay olan iki annenin bir araya gelmesiyle başladı. Bir kafede sohbet ettik. Bu iki anneye de çok iyi geldi bu karşılaşma. Ondan sonra başka çocukları gay olan ailelerle, transseksüel olan ailelerle, çocukları açık olan ailelerle tanışmaya başladık. Sadece yaşadıklarımızı paylaşıp sohbet ediyorduk. Daha sonra bir Avrupa toplantısına gittik Floransa'da, Acedo'nun. İtalyan aile grubuyla tanıştık. O bizim ufkumuzu açtı. Ondan sonra onların neler yaptıklarını gördük. Ve Türkiye'ye döndüğümüzde biz de onlarınkine benzer çocukları kendilerine açılmış ailelerle görüşmeye başladık. Onlara bilgilendirme ve paylaşım toplantıları düzenlemeye başladık. Her ay bir gün gönüllü psikiyatristlerle çalışıyoruz o günden beri.
1993 in June, a group of gay men decided to organize some events, pride events in Istanbul. So they invited some participants from especially Germany. But just the day before it was going to start, the Istanbul city government banned the event, and the police went to the airport, and as soon as all these international participants arrived, they arrested all of them. Well, they didn't really arrest, they stopped all of them and they sent them back to their countries. They said that the reason they were coming to Turkey was illegal because the event was banned. So they sent all of them back to their countries. And what happened was, of course, the group who organized the event decided to still do it unofficially. So they got together in smaller spaces because there were less people, and it was all, the remaining Turkish people. And they started talking about these issues, why it is necessary to have an LGBT movement in Turkey, and what can be done. So that was the beginning of Lambda, and that is considered the first Pride Week in 1993. Last year in 2012, we had the 20th Pride Week organization, which culminates in the last day of the Pride Week is the Pride March. And last year, some say that there were more than 15,000 people who walked in the Pride March.
In our report, and as well as in the works of other LGBT organizations that we collaborate with, we demand the state authorities to amend the Article 10 to end all, discrimination against LGBT individuals and to include sexual or discrimination against sexual orientations, gender identity, sexual identity within the Constitution, as well as in all comprehensive legislative forms, as well as to not only to have this included in the Constitution, but also practice this, because the laws are not sufficient if there's not enough practice.
During the constitutional debates, the CHP and BDP were with the LGBT rights to be included in the equality article, and AK Party was totally against it. Mustafa Şentop, one of the speakersmen from AK Party, said that AK Party is against any kind of inclusion in terms of sexual orientation and gender identity, not only in the constitution but in the other legislations as well. But during the same time, some people from AK Party, like the Minister of Justice, the minister, he said that we will include sexual preferences in the hate crimes law, but we are not so hopeful about this new constitution to include sexual orientation and gender identity.
Military service is obligatory for all men between the ages of 18 and 40, I think. And Turkey does not recognize conscientious objectors. So within that context, a lot of gay men and trans people are applying for to be excused from the military service. It is one torture, in a sense, if you want to get out of military service. It is another issue if you actually commit to it and serve in the military. The processes that go through to claim you unfit for military service is really difficult. They go, these men or trans people have to go through anal tests. Sometimes they have to show photographs in action, and a lot of the times they have to look effeminate, like more feminine, to prove their homosexuality or prove their sexual identity as trans. So that's already one violation of human rights, in a sense, that violation of their privacy, also in a sense violation of their embodied rights. For our report, as well as a lot of LGBT organizations, we talk to gay men and trans people about their experiences, what they went through, and a lot of these processes are not legal, but they are enforced upon these individuals. And also, when papers go to their families, it's claimed also what they are, that shows why they are unfit. At the end of the day, it can actually have repercussions that actually follow the military service.
There isn't really a standard procedure. It's really very, it changes from place to place. There are several different military. First of all, the person needs to go to a military hospital, and there are several of them, and depending on where they go, it might be different. But in the past, they used to actually require men to show photographs of themselves having sex with another man, in which their face had to be recognizable. Now it looks like they have stopped asking that kind of visual proof, but right now what they do mostly is, again because it changes, but mostly is they administer a personality test, a psychological test, and also they do an interview with the person, and they also request to do an interview with someone who knew the person from childhood. It's most of the time a family member, because it has to be someone who knew the person as a child. And the thing with this is it's very difficult for a lot of gay men who request to get this report, is because they're not out to their families, so they cannot ask a family member to come and talk to the military psychiatrist about their childhood. So that makes the process very difficult, because if you cannot bring someone to talk about your childhood, then they will say, we cannot give you the report. What they do is they say like, okay, you are not ready to do the military service right now, come back next year.
In Turkey, for the social rights or the civil rights, LGBT sexual orientation and gender identity was never criminalized. But it was criminalized in the military service. And it's an obligatory military service we have in Turkey. And you know, within this culture, the army officials are pushing the gay and the trans people to come with their family to prove their sexual orientation or gender identity. Or they want pictures during the intercourse to prove that your sexual orientation and gender identity is not suitable for the Turkish army. This is discrimination, by the way. I mean, lots of the people, there are some people say that we are an anti-militaristic organization, we are against military, or you know. But there are some people that, okay, I'm gay, but I want to make my military service.
Gay, lezbiyen, biseksüel ve transseksüel görünürlüğü arttıkça gerçekleşecek bir şey. Biz sokaklara çıkıp bağırdıkça gerçekleşecek bir şey. Haklarımızı almamız ya da ailelerimizin bunları kabul etmesi ya da daha bir bu durumu kabullenir toplumun oluşması bizim çoğalmamızla oluşacak bir şey. Ama bu Türkiye'de hani şu anda gerçekten benim görebildiğim ilk 20 sene içerisinde net olarak sanmıyorum ki kolay kolay insanlar kabul edebilsin.
LGBT katılmadığım bir yer, gitmediğim bir topluluk. Çünkü eşcinsellerle birlikte herhangi bir sokakta veya herhangi bir kafede ya da başka bir yerde oturmak, kalmak istemiyorum. LGBT iyi bir topluluk olabilir. Yani yaptığı işler benim için hani gerçekten hakkını savunduğunu düşündüğüm bir topluluk. Ama ben onların yanında olmaktan biraz çekiniyorum. Çünkü olaylar biraz daha farklı yerlere kaçabilir diye çekiniyorum.
Şimdi ben de mücadele etmek gerektiğini duyuyorum. Sanki biraz da pes etmek gibi geliyor buradan burayı terk etmek. Tabi derseniz ki insanız yani, insan yapısıyız. Nereye kadar dayanabiliriz? Bilmiyorum yani, ben de fazla hakikaten enerji insanın azalıyor.